All right. If you know what you're looking at, we can be friends. And welcome back to my channel, where we start a lot of projects and never actually finish any. You know, the game Among Us, it's very inspiring. It is the perfect challenge for artificial intelligence to deceive and lie and spread propaganda and come to conclusions. It's the perfect challenge for agentic AI. And that's what you're seeing on screen right now. You're watching 8 independent agents play the game Among Us. They all begin with thoughts and a persona, and 2 are randomly selected to be imposters. The imposter's goal is to kill the crewmates before the crewmates catch on. And there we go. We just saw our first kill. Red killed green. So, let's see what happens. Oh, here we go. White observed the dead body. The dead body was reported. This is significant. So let's take a look into this prompt here. Here's our system prompt. And here's the user prompt. You can see that a dead body was reported. It was inside the visibility. Let's take a look at the visibility. What does that look like? Here's the visibility and the action radius of each agent. You can see it has a ray tracing type style. So each agent can see only what they can see in line of sight. You can see the difference between thought bubbles and spoken words. They are speaking to each other. Their memory is not shared. They do not have shared access to memory. They observe, they think, that's their internal computing. They have a memory. They can come up with their own conclusions based on the mechanics of the game. And then they can begin communicating with others. Let's take a look at some of those conversations that may be had. I'm just going to pick a random one here. You can see pink and black spoke with each other momentarily. Let's go up a little bit here. And here's red and white. You can see they spoke momentarily. We actually have conversations and conspiring going on. You can see here, red was trying to engage in multiple conversations. We see red is an imposter. And there's another kill. A kill within eyesight is an immediate alert, right? That was observed as an immediate kill. Let's turn these off. Here we go. So this character obviously recognized it. Let's go to decisions. You can see orange reported a body. Again, there's our prompt. Here's the response. And so now we can see the context between the agents is changing. Was black an imposter? No. Blue, you're a bit too cautious. They're catching on to blue. Blue's the imposter. Now, let's talk about the mechanics a little bit here. We have a llama model, 3.2, 1 billion instruct Q5, running on a RTX 3090. And you can see here on the side, I've set a maximum threshold of 2,000 tokens per second. And you can see we are currently operating below the 2,000 tokens per second. And this actually applies a coefficient to the agents and permits them to think more frequently. That's a very powerful tool. If you know how much capacity you have on your GPU, then you can use it. So you can see I have an available capacity of 1,200 tokens per second. In this session alone, we've processed over 200,000 tokens. You can see we're processing them in about, on average, 195 milliseconds. And you can see the tokens into the model, approximately tokens per second is about 600 per second in, 81 out. And tokens into the model, on average, 428, tokens out, 54. That's a rate of 1.4 API calls per second. We have a queuing mechanism here, just in case there's a lot of conversation happening simultaneously. It kind of queues it up. We actually, on this Llama 3.2 1 billion model on RTX 3090, have not had any issues with that. I played with the Quen models and a few other smaller ones, and while they were faster, we had far more bandwidth. We did begin to observe quality issues with the conversations. They weren't having full integrity conversations. The thought chains required for a complex game like Among Us, the deceit and the reasoning to come to a conclusion. So this is just a prototype. The link will be below to the repo if you would like to download it and play it yourself. Very simple. You just spin up a llama CPP and run this. And you'll be able to observe and click around and play with their memory and their suspicions. Something else I'm working on is as an observer of 8 agents, I can play the role of God. I can provide them a divine whisper or some guiding principles kind of in real time. I can force them to speak. I can force some activities of them. And these are very powerful tools if you want to affect the outcome of a particular match. So still a work in progress. You can see the dead body animations, silly looking. And I have yet to implement the emergency button and all the mechanics there, but that's coming imminently. That'll be soon. But the mechanics of visibility, seeing around corners, accomplishing tasks. I think you've seen players accomplishing tasks. You can see task completions up here. Let's go ahead and monitor some of these activities. See if anyone goes and completes a task. We'll follow red here. Something I'm still trying to figure out is observability through walls. While the observability is this gradient here, sometimes they can see players through walls, and I'm not quite sure why that is just yet. I need to figure that out. So, lots of bugs, for sure, lots of bugs. However, fully functional. A cognizant solution for agents to think and speak to each other to solve a very complex problem, and that is the game of Among Us. Check out the repo. Thanks for watching.